Hey, I'm Josh from Vacuums R Us in Colorado, and today we're going to be doing a repair on this classic Oreck XL style vacuum. So the customer ticket says that it is a switch replacement and to tighten the chrome handle. So the switch on these is up there, you can't see it quite yet. The chrome handle, when we talk about the chrome handle, we're usually referring to this square metal handle part right here. And from the looks of it, to me, it looks like they have a screw loose right there. And I think that's what they're talking about with tightening. So we're going to actually be removing the chrome handle in its entirety during this switch replacement. So when I do switch replacements on these, always, I actually remove the upper handle in its entirety. I'm going to first twist tie the cord together so that it doesn't fall all over the place. And that's something I commonly do with a lot of different types of repairs, where I'll put the cord together so I don't have it all over the place driving me nuts. So we'll drop our cord, and I'm going to remove that handle. There's two screws. Short screw and a locking washer, as there should be. And then the upper screw is going to be a longer screw. And this one, it's actually a shorter one. Never mind. And I'm going to pop my handle off. So on this particular model, my short cord that goes from the handle down to the base it's screwed on right here. So I'm going to pop that off real quick as well. And the reason I'm doing all of this is because when these handles come apart, they're kind of a clamshell. And laying that handle down flat on the bench is a magnitude easier to work on than trying to work on it up here or putting it on the floor. So now the way we have this thing, and you'll be able to see what we're doing really easily too, because it's flat on the bench, is the whole thing lays right there. It'll be way easier to put it back together, to take it apart. This is another one of those things that I show in some of my videos. Take the 30 seconds to take the handle off and put it back on again. It's going to save you a lot of frustration. So I'm going to take these screws out. There should be 5 if I remember correctly. And I did not test this before I started working on it, which I typically do. I'm not sure why we're doing a switch. Oh, I can feel it. The switch, it's pretty obvious actually. The switch doesn't even. So this particular switch we have is plugged in right here and then plugged in right there, and it has a pigtail that's hook soldered on right there. So I'm going to go and check and see what kind of switches we have available, and we will go ahead and install the switch. All right, so I got my switch, and this is a single on-off switch. Here's a fun fact for you people who are familiar with Orecks. Some Orecks have a high and a low speed. That's actually entirely controlled through the switch. So if you wanted to, this customer had a single on-off. We could actually replace this with the high-low switch, the low speed being useful for bare floor on Orecks, without any modifications to the motor. They're the same motor. The switch would actually just drop the amperage, which would slow down the motor. So that's something we could do. I'll put a link to that switch, as well as this switch in the information below. So this switch is a bare switch. There's no wires on it, right? So one side of the switch is going to plug in just fine, but the other side would have to plug in down here, which clearly is not going to happen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to desolder this, and I'm just going to solder this lead on. You have other options too. Work over the years, what you actually get into the handle is different all the time. They made a lot of different changes. Some of them had these leads soldered on. Some of them had clips on both sides. You never really know what you're going to get into. So if you wanted to, you could get clips like this on both sides, and you could, instead of desoldering, you could just run a short piece of wire from here to your switch and get these clips to go on either side. I'm just going to go ahead and solder it because I happen to have the soldering iron hot right next to me, and that'll get the job done quickly and easily. So I'm going to put a little bit of flux on this baby, and we'll solder that hook off real quick. So that hook came off real easy. quick. And then I'm gonna hook back into there on the new switch. Grab some needle nose and I'll pinch that hook on. And we'll put a dab of solder on there and we'll be rocking and rolling. So here's a fun one. On most commercial vacuums, they use clips right on there, and the clips fall off all the time because commercial Orecks, they get beat up, right? And the locking mechanism that locks the machine upright wears out, and so the machine starts falling backwards. And so it falls back, it hits the back of the handle, and that force is popping, keeps hitting, boom, boom, boom. And eventually these clips, one of them falls off the back of the switch. Very common with Oreck commercials, very, very common. What we do for our commercial customers, the first time they come in for that, we don't sell Oreck commercials anymore. Long story there, boy. But anyway, but when they come in with that issue the first time, what we do for them is we actually solder those clips onto the switch so that it cannot fall off again, because it's so common, and we have people come in over and over and over again with that exact same issue. We just go ahead and solder that sticking thing on there so they don't have to worry about it anymore. So I'll plug that in, plug in over here. That's good to go. I'm gonna rerun these wires. Always look right here on these cords. On this design of Oreck, maybe you have it, maybe you don't. There's no strain relief on this cord. So all of the strain from the cord is right on there, and they'll wear out right here, and that cord will break. Another common repair we do is this cord has started to fray right here. So we'll cut the cord here, we'll pull it back in, and then we'll rewire it to get rid of that dangerous fray. So I'm gonna tuck everything back in there the way it was. And my switch is, boy, that's not much space right there. I do not remember that as being that stinking tight, but clearly it was. So what I like to do on these switch replacements, see if I can get it back. Yeah, it'll be flipped, but that'll be fine, is I actually leave the switch out. Which I don't have much cord room on this one today, but I leave the switch out like that. I actually usually like to hang it out, but I have no cord on this one. But I'll leave it popped out when I put the case back together. There we go. When I put the clamshell back on, like this, and this is the case with any of these type of switches that pressure fit in and have clips on the side. Same way with Riccar and push that. That's actually coming out right there. There we go. Same thing with Riccar machines and Simplicity machines that take rocker switches. What we're doing in the handle, I'll actually leave the switch out. Very gently put that down. Press that down right there. And then I'll put the handle back together. Again, always keep my clutch on the lowest setting so I don't strip anything or break any studs. Okay, so now that it's together, you can actually just push that switch in and it will lock right in. That's handy, particularly on Riccar handles and stuff like that. They have a lot more wires in here. There's like no space in here at all. So you're trying to put the clamshell together, you got wires popping out all over the place. If you leave the switch hanging out, get your wires set, put your clamshell back together, tamp it down, and then push your switch in, that'll give you the space that you need to get that stinking thing back together. And again, we have our lowest clutch. I'm going to take it up a couple notches on this. There we go. Tamp that puppy down. Now we could actually have tested this work prior to putting the handle back on. Once we got that handle back together, we could have turned the machine on. Probably should have. I'm pretty confident in my work here, but always like to kind of get in the habit of testing kind of in the process of repair, where the least amount of the repair is put together as possible, so that if you do find that you've got an issue and you have to go back into it, you don't have to rip the entire machine apart. But I didn't do that this time, so do as I say, not as I do. absolutely horrible, which is not something the front end could have diagnosed when they checked it in, because it wouldn't even turn on because the switch was bad. But it turns on now, which will make them happy. They're, what is this, 20-year-old Oreck vacuum? Yeah, it's pretty old. It was made in New Orleans. They shut down their factory in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina moved to Tennessee, I believe. Cooksville, I think, is where their manufacturing went. So this is a really old machine that we just brought back to life. So I'm going to finish up my paperwork, document that we replaced the switch, tighten the handle up, and that it's functional for the time being till that motor gets up the ghost, and customer will be back in service.